Hello, welcome back to another video with an explanation. For this one, I'm going to explain how I did this Stray Kids 3-year anniversary set with the kind of glitch effect and the TV. This does require a fair amount of setup, but once it's set up, it actually goes pretty fast. So I will go over the overall graphics setup and then also how to get that effect. To start off with, hold on, I have a lot of files. Was finding a picture of a retro TV. For this one, I just got this from Unsplash, where you can get a bunch of nice shiny HD pictures with no royalties for free. I just liked this one, and then took out the background of it. And then I also then have my base canvas artboard, whichever you want to call it, where we'll actually be making the graphic. So I just dropped the TV in. It's not perfect, as you can see. There are a couple of things missing here and there, but this is going to be fairly small, so if it does need to get cleaned up, it can, but for the sake of this, we'll just leave it as it is right now. But there we go. See, there's still a little bit of lines, and if you want to know how to take out a background like this, for this case I usually use editing the layer mask, just because it's a lot easier, and you can, if you accidentally delete something you don't want it deleted, it's much easier to try and recover that area than it is just from erasing. But yeah, so now we have our TV. So next we want to create this shadow, so we'll duplicate the layer, and then we'll go and have a fill layer for a solid color. For it, since it's a shadow, we do want it to be black, and on that fill layer, create a clipping mask. So now the TV that's under is completely black. This was never here. But with that, we can turn that top layer back on, and then with that bottom TV layer selected, go to edit, transform, and then for this first one, we'll skew it, and then just move it to the left or right. I usually go to the right. And then shear it, or skew it, not shear it. But then, as you can see, we might need to clean up a little bit more. And then hit Command T or Control T in order to squish it, so it kind of looks like it's on the ground. And then we might need to clean it up a little bit more. But we essentially have our little shadow guy, and you'll probably just have to move that a little bit. So now I have a shadow of the TV on the ground. Whoop. There you go. And then we'll eventually probably want to change the blending mode and transparency of it, but for right now, we'll just leave it as is. And now for, to be able to get the GIF to cleanly be within the TV, since we will be working with squares and rectangles, no rounded edges, we'll want to create another layer. And take your paintbrush, and then just go like where the screen is. I'm going to change this color so it's a little easier to see. So wherever the screen is, just fill it in with your paintbrush. Make sure this is on a new layer and not on one of the layers with the TV on it. Otherwise, the clipping mask will only apply to the whole TV and not just the screen. And then we'll want to fill it in all the way. So now when we import our GIF, we can create a clipping mask, so then it only goes within this enclosed white box. Now, one other thing I did, I don't know if it actually helped in the end or not, is I also included another layer with the TV, but just with the blue part of the screen, so it looks, so there's kind of like that blue screen in front of the GIF. Again, I'm not sure if that like did anything. Oh, whoops. There you go. I'm not sure if that actually did anything for it in the end, but oh my, can I? There you go. Forgetting my buttons, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know if it actually did anything in the long run, but I thought it might be a nice little touch. It might require some cleanup later when we have a GIF in there. You might be able to see some edges that you don't want to, but it's easy to go back and fix since we are using clipping masks for this. Look. Oh, that's probably the shadow. See, I took a little bit off on this corner, a little bit too much, but with just using technically the eraser or a white brush, you can bring that back pretty easily. And we'll say it's good enough for now. Okay. And then we'll just put it at like 30% for now, and we can change it when we get an actual GIF in there. One last thing, or a couple of last things in order to change the color for this, just because I was doing multiple panels of this and I knew I was wanting to change the background. Instead of using a paint bucket, I just used a new fill layer and a solid color, and then you can choose whatever color you want. We'll do a dark kind of palish purple for this one. Actually, we'll recreate the guides menu one. So that one was a gray, and with that guides menu one, or across all of them, the TV also changed color. So you see here it's the yellow one, originally started with red. So above the TV layer that actually shows the rest of the TV, have a hue and saturation layer, have it create a clipping mask so it only affects the TV layer, go to reds, and then play around for whatever color you wish to see. I think for this one I had a blue. There you go. We'll go with that one for now. Oh, yeah, we'll just go with that. That looks good. I think that's it for everything that we need for the TV. Oh wait, no, there is one more thing. For the text, nothing was too fancy. It was just an Arial text with kind of an orange yellow font, since we're doing go live. Do it that way. And the text was pretty tiny as well. We'll just put it like that. And it also did have the year, but this is just Arial with it bolded and italicized. And if you double click on the text layer over here, I also used a stroke with a color of black and a size of 1, and also a drop shadow. And I think that was also just the standard settings. I didn't actually change anything, but we can change the size a little bit more so it's tiny, so it's kind of acts like a subtitle on the TV. Now I think everything's set up for the TV, and we'll want to have this be created into a video timeline, because since we are working with GIFs. If you're just working with regular edit, just this is fine. You don't need to create into a video timeline, but since we will be working with like moving pictures to get that kind of motion TV effect, we'll create a video timeline, and we'll just leave this alone for now. Now, for one other thing you'll need to set up for the glitch effect is a certain pattern, which is this one. For this, I just made a canvas of 1 pixel in width and 3 pixels for height, and then use the rectangle tool, just clicked on it, and then hit a size of 1px by 1px, and then just put it at the top. So then you just get this, and then in order to create the pattern, you go to Edit, define pattern, and then I'm not going to name it since I already have this pattern on my computer, but you just name it, click OK, and then you'll see where it is later on. But now, since we're done with this, we just need to make our GIF itself. So I'm just going to quickly make those frames. Okay, sweet. So Changmin is all ready to be glitchified. So for this, once you have your action, sharpening, or whatever you want on it, you want to have all of those layers, if you do have multiple layers, to be converted into a smart object. And then you'll want to copy or duplicate the layer 4 times. And I believe there's a shortcut with the Command J, yeah. I think it's 4. And we'll just rename them for the sake of sanity. Blue. And distort. Yeah, so I'll have your base, red, green, blue, and distort. I might be missing a layer, but we'll figure it out. So for your green layer, or the technically middle layer, you go to right click on it and hit blending options, and then with blending options uncheck the R and B. You'll actually want to do these for all of them. So for the red layer, uncheck everything but red. Blue layer, uncheck everything but blue. And if you did things right, it should look exactly the same. Okay. So with your green layer selected, go to Filter, Distort, and then Shear, I believe. Yeah, Shear. And then you can play around with how much you want things distorted. You'll see kind of the effect once it's done, but you can also easily come back and edit this if you want it to look a little bit different. So now obviously the greens have shifted a little bit, so then we'll also want to do the same thing with the blue. Distort, shear, there you go. And then you have the blues like that. So with the distort layer, you'll want to create a a layer mask. I'm forgetting vocabulary words. Just by having that layer selected and then hit this little icon down here for, it says add vector mask, but a little square with a circle taken out of it. And then with the marquee tool, you'll want to have the shift button selected this entire time once it's dragged. So once you have this, click and drag, then you want to hold the shift key. So then that original line stays there. We can do that. And then just, see what happens. And then hit the shift again, and then just do this all the way down until you're happy. Sweet, okay. And then with this, you can have your brush out, make sure it's black, and then there you go. And it'll look a little distorted with those various layers. And you can also play around with this more. And then next, next we'll want to have a selective color layer, and you can play around with what the blacks look like so they look a little bit more faded. So it actually looks like what it is on the TV, and you can this is also a chance if you want to do a little bit more correction or something with colors, you're more than welcome to. And then I usually, for this last part, we're going to add the noise, is just do a solid color with black, and then filter, noise, add noise. Make sure it's not monochromatic, and make sure it's uniform, and make sure it's at 400. And then you can play around with the settings of it. I usually do darken or multiply. For this we'll just do darken, and then we have our noise effect like it is on the TV. So then we have Changmin wrapping in grainy TV format. Hold on, I forgot something for the glitch effect. I'll insert this in the other video, but this was shortly after I just finished the original recording. But we also, the pattern, we never did anything with the pattern. So it won't come up on this one, but that's okay. But just for the sake of adding this, we'll want to go to layer, new fill layer, and then pattern. And then we'll go to the pattern we made earlier, press OK, make sure it's under our work area, and then I usually set it to darken and then put it at like 40% or something. I knew we were missing something earlier. So then it has those lines across it. So the Changmin example won't have it for this, but then you have those like lines on an old vintage TV. So there you go. Now we can resume with your regular scheduled tutorial. So in order to input this on our previous PSD template that we worked on earlier with the TV, don't close this out or anything, and we will want to do a Control-Z once we do this, but you'll just want to convert this into a smart object of everything, so you don't have all those layers coming into this one. And then click on the layer that we created. We'll put this, there we go. The layer that we created earlier with that white box in the center that covers the screen. And drag that new layer on there, and then we'll create a clipping mask for it, so then it's only affected on the TV. And then you just resize it for how you wish. And then, yeah, even sometimes on here, there you go. So you can actually see what it looks like. Yeah. So this is what it looks like. There'll probably be one part where it goes transparent, but you can see this is pretty much done. So it does look like he's in a glitchy TV. So let's say you finish this one, saved it, want to make another panel, but you don't want to have to remake all of these layers again. So we'll go back to this glitch PSD file that we made. Hit Control-Z so it no longer is just in one layer. Go to the base layer and double click on the picture of it, and it should take you here, this is the nice thing that I learned about with smart objects. So with this, we can go ahead and create another GIF real fast. And then you can go through the same steps as before with just creating your GIF regularly. So with this, create your smart object, go into the smart object layer that we clicked on from here. And then we'll want to drag in Dragon's file. So it fits in there. And then you can keep it. The file V's in here, I usually just delete them. So then you have this. And then hit Command or Control S to save. And then it updates in here. So then all you have to do is save this as a smart object again, and then go in here, change the background color if you wish, and the title, and then you're good to go. So this type of edit does have like a decent amount of setup, but again, like once you make it, it can go pretty fast. And I don't think it was mentioned earlier, since this was a gray background. If you did want to do a colored background, we won't make it that. We'll do this color. But so the shadow isn't completely black. What I usually do in this sort of case, I usually put on like darken, or you could put on like overlay or soft light and do something like that. Or you could also put on like darken and then just play around with the transparency of it so it doesn't stick out quite as much, and do that, and then just change the TV color. For some of the colors, because of this, I also bumped up the blacks. But yeah, then you can just put the Dragon GIF in there, and then you're good to go. So yeah, that was a quick tutorial on how this was made. Also mainly to show off what smart objects can do. I just figured this out like a week ago, or learned about a week ago, and it saves so much time with a couple of things, especially if you're just repeating a lot of the same process. But thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you all next time.